Good day all, my name is Kayode Olagesin. Let me join others on this time-traveling voyage and attempt to flash back into life while growing up in the early to mid-70s. My early childhood was around the Obalende area in Lagos. I recollect the river that separated the Obalende police barracks and the police force headquarters on Moloney Street. We used to catch crabs by the river as dredgers excavated sand from the water into boats. That river is now a canal. I remember the colorful police shows with parades which included horses that obeyed every command. There were the demonstrations with police dogs leaping through rings of fire. It was always a joy to see the mobile police squadron along Kefi Road by Jordan Barracks doing their drills on Saturdays, when I went with my mom to buy meat at the butchers on the same road. The meat was hung on hooks, and my mother would request a selection of cuts, which of course included biscuit bones, ashamegun. The beef and ashamegun were then weighed separately by the butcher in white coats before the price was determined. Yes, you heard me. Meat was sold with scales, then in a very hygienic environment. It was a delight to come across the motorcade of the head of state, then General Yakubu Gowon, which included police outriders, some of whom did stunts with the bikes. Sadly, I remember as a pupil of Atiriti Primary School in Ikoyi, when General Muritala Muhammad was assassinated not too far from our school. We were locked in school, but some of us who didn't know what was happening at the time escaped through the barbed wire fence and made our way home. I went to join my dad at his office, and he wasn't very surprised to see me. He said he was pretty confident I would take care of myself. Of course, I felt very tall when he said that. I also recollect going shopping at Okiari and Akwambo markets with my mom. It was something I usually dreaded, as my mother would price every item from at least 3 different stalls, sometimes going back to one of the sellers to reprice the same item before she finally settled with one. The savings could be as low as 5 kobo. I remember going on errands to buy oven fresh bread from the bakery on Igboshere Road, trekking from our house then behind the nurses' hostel on Awolowo Way in southwest Ikoyi. This tradition of buying fresh bread from the bakery started when we lived in Apapa GRA. Then we would walk from the house on the Banta Road to the boundary with Ajegunle and cross by Kenu to the other side. The fare was 1 kobo. Sometimes we cross with a Kenu bridge. This was a bridge formed by tying several canoes together across the water. Those were the good old days. We roamed the streets in groups, remembering only to come home around meal times to refuel and hit the playgrounds again. The entire neighborhood was our play area. Apapa GRA was a very wooded area with lots of trees, and I spent a lot of time on trees there. We had several trees in the compound, including almond fruit, coconut, mango, as well as other ornamental ones, sometimes playing touch and play on them. We lived in a block of 6 flats, and ours was one of the top ones. There was a fruit tree very close to the building with the branches reaching out towards the windows. I will climb out of the window onto the window ledge and from there onto the tree and eat my fill of fruits before climbing back inside the house. Sometimes I will climb down the tree to the compound and climb up the tree into the house. I think I was about 10-11 years old then. We all had catapults, and just about anything was used as targets. Empty tins, lizards on the wall, etc. We rode tires on the streets, played table soccer with crown cocks with buttons as balls. I remember beans with agonyi stew on Friday night, yam with geisha stew on Sunday mornings, and Uncle Ben's rice on Sunday nights. Food was relatively cheap, and life was rich even though most families were just average ones. Those were the good old days when there were values. The police conducted themselves professionally and were well respected. There was order as there were regular inspections of facilities, especially of those that provided services to the public. There was safety, and parents didn't unduly worry about their children, who spent a great deal of time outdoors. We learned self-confidence on the streets and learned negotiation skills by observation. I recollect those days with a great deal of nostalgia and hope that our children can experience Nigeria as it once was, before everything was bastardized. Then life was good, thrilling and enjoyable. It was more a communal life where there was no discrimination, no stigmatization of anyone, and we treated each other as first amongst equals. We are who we are today because of our communal upbringing. Sadly, those values have taken flight today. Our collective wish is for our children to be greater than us. So how do we make this happen without imbibing the sound values of yesteryears? It is not too late. Together, we can change the narrative. Individually and collectively, let us strive to make the difference now for the sake of our children's tomorrow. I therefore join others in joining Sir Shimo Ribadejo in this collective drive towards a greater tomorrow. Thank you.